Hi, I'm Precious Azure, co-founder and vice president of Measure, and I'm super grateful you decided to click this link to watch the recap of our 6 Ways to Protect Black Girls workshop. Now, in this video, you are going to watch the authentic conversations that took place post our instructional training of the 6 Ways to Protect Black Girls. You can find the link to that video series in the description below, but what you're about to tune into are those authentic conversations. Enjoy.
For our group. A lot of us really just dove right in talking about some of the spaces that we enjoy having, i.e. like brunch, fellowship, just being able to have drinks, a safe place for Black women to be able to just congregate and meet with one another, but while doing so, also being able to share this type of information. Basically was looked at as like leaving no man out. We often suffer alone, and having these types of spaces really brought joy to a lot of women in our group. But then also others were feeling like this is a huge responsibility for our community, as we had different women in our group who have different walks of life. And we're looking at it from a very different perspective, but acknowledging that not only is it a responsibility, but also bringing joy that we are able to now carry that responsibility in educating, sharing information and resources, but then also changing what we've always been taught to think, right? Like complimenting versus judging when it comes to some of these young girls in school systems and things like that. But majority of it was mostly really honing in on having that sense of community and being able to share this knowledge with one another.
Important. Group number 4. That was our Black men, wasn't that?
Yeah,
oh, Precious. I had a good time just listening. You know, it's always good to just listen. But yes, had some powerful men in our breakout group. So I just have a few high-level takeaways. One statement that was said in our group is that there's no such thing as overprotecting a Black woman. And I just agreed. I was like, you are absolutely right. But a lot of the men took away just being more alert, more aware. They're just grateful that they were even able to listen to this information. And from a legacy perspective, wanted to continue to be educated and share these resources and partner with Measure. So we got some Black men that's going to join the movement with us. And I'm just super grateful for that. So those are our highlights.
Can you say that quote one more time?
I will.
Okay.
There's no such thing as overprotecting a Black woman. Okay. And that was Gordon.
Okay.
You gotta quote him on there. That was Mr. Gordon Mack.
Can we make a t-shirt that says that for all of our brothers on here? Now y'all see my husband right there. You see that Styles right there. I would like to see him wearing a t-shirt just like that. I'm sorry, let me be quiet. I gotta mind my manners.
Took the words straight out my mouth. We need a t-shirt.
I was already typing it down in my notes when she first said it the first time. So yes, snaps to the quote. Yes.
Yes. Group number 5. Would y'all like to share y'all's insights?
I want to invite my fellow group members to jump in if I miss anything. I think the overall theme of our group was educating others, educating ourselves, and advocacy. So in terms of educating others, we were a BIPOC group, so we talked about how within our communities, Latino communities, South Asian communities, that people are really ignorant and unaware, not only of what Black women, Black girls face, but also how they might contribute to it. And so we were talking about how we might need to educate. There were a couple of people who work in the school system or work in nonprofits with, immigrants or students who have a Latino background, and they were talking about how they educate these students about the experience of Black students in the school and help them become more sensitive. We also talked about how there's a lot of colorism and discrimination, both at a community level and an individual level in many, many communities that are not Black, and that Within our own communities, like South Asian communities, we have a lot of skin color bias, but they also have bias about other groups that have skin color, different skin colors. So not recognizing that, it hurts us when we do that to our own folk, and then we turn around and apply it to another ethnic group. So we talked about that. We talked about advocacy in terms of both at the local level, in our jobs, with our clients, with our colleagues, but also wanting to be involved. I think one of our group members has a nonprofit, and I didn't catch the name of the nonprofit, but one of the things she does is really helping Black girls find their childhood and how they've lost their childhood and deserve to have somebody, validate that and also make space for that. I think that was it. There was a lot of interest in learning more about the data and getting more specific data, information, statistics that they can bring to their organizations. There was particularly interest in talking about how white girls are seen as innocent and Black girls are not seen as innocent. And I think our facilitator pointed out that there's an innocence initiative on the We Measure webpage. So if any of my group members think I missed anything, please jump in.
You did so beautiful. That was so beautiful. Thank you for sharing, stepping up.
Okay, thanks.
And so we just talked a lot about like having conversations with our peers about the various topics, whether that's the prison to pipeline, adultification of young Black girls, the statistics that are shown for young girls in schools, and it was just a really good conversation to hear each of our pieces on like how important it is to us to hold space for that and actually do the work. And I didn't get to share this out, but we talk about using social media as like a huge, strong platform for getting this information shared and, just sharing it in a variety of ways that's not just like negative. And for me, a huge piece of like talking about Black youth is just having that visibility, right? So having a poster of a Black girl on my wall, having books that are written by Black authors that are, stories about triumph or just happiness without, having an entire hardship. So just speaking to like visibility and having these conversations with our communities, even if they are hard.
Question was, how can you reimagine how Black stories are told in your community? And so I just took 3 points away from what we discussed. And one was just sharing more empowering stories, whether that's sharing stories with our media or news outlet of, people making a difference or role models or, different stories that helps eliminate those stereotypes that we do see or those adultification biases that we do see. And that can also lead into like movies and music and trying not to over sexualize everything and what we share with, our girls or, our community. Our second point was just to create more awareness about adultification bias. We learned that the word is unknown in some communities, and bringing this awareness starts that conversation. And so our last point is just speaking out and interrupting those that are making these partial or inaccurate narratives, and then being able to be in this place to where you're heard and speaking up about it, you don't feel attacked or like anyone is pressuring you. You just feel comfortable or be in a comfortable space to interrupt those people.
Before I pass the mic off to our fearless leader, Miss Jamila Stiles, to talk about how you can help advance our mission, I did want to share a book with you. As the director of advocacy, I lead a team of researchers, and a question that I'm often asked from our volunteers is, as an ally, how can I support not just Measure's mission, but people of color, and specifically Black women, Black girls? And so I recently found this book at a local bookstore, and I just wanted to share it. I will post a link where you can find it in your bookstore. And I'm going to unblur my background so you can see it, but it's called Do the Work. It's an anti-racist activity book, and it's something that we'll be employing with our volunteers, but I think it's a huge, huge asset and resource to you, your community, your colleagues, and just want to share this with you all. All right, and I'll place that in the chat.
Thank you so much, Angel. And thank you to each one of you who shared their own lived experience in your breakout group. You know, I am so happy to be able to share space in my group with Black women. You know, they were from everywhere, from Ohio, from Oregon, from Texas. And so just us coming together is, in this type of conversation, is you all doing the work. So you all to yourself say, I am an activist. I mean, because at the end of the day, being here and listening, and then I know most of you will probably leave here with the understanding that I can speak up for change. If you are, if you have a young Black girl as a daughter, you know, make sure that you are always encouraging her. Be there for her, use some of the tools that you learned today. And then I also like to share, and if Passion, if you want to go ahead and share the last slide here. There you go. How do we continue this conversation? How do we stay connected? There's a couple of ways. The first way, of course, is to follow us on social media at We Measure Us. We as an organization are called Measure. Even though our email is like wemeasure.org, we are just called Measure in all caps. You can also become a data activist volunteer. So Angel had mentioned that she leads a group of researchers, right? Well, at Measure, we are all researchers, right? So we're redefining the academia's definition of who a researcher is. As a matter of fact, we have a college class that teaches the next generation of researchers, of Black and Brown researchers, okay? So it's called Community Engaged Research course. And this course is now at Houston Tillotson University. Yes, in HBCU right here in Texas. It's also been at Texas State. And so we are all researchers. We need to recapture the narrative through research, and it's only going to be us to do that. So we are community-led researchers. The second one is to become an impact partner. And I can't stress how important this is. We as a organization, of course, are led by Black women, right? Unfortunately, Black-led social change organizations only receive about 1% of philanthropic funding. That means that we as an organization have to fight extra hard in order to do our work. And we're amazing, though, let me tell you the truth, right? I work with all Black women. We are some incredible people, and we would do this work whether we're funded or not. But we are absolutely needing to depend on our community right now, to be honest with you. We are trying to bring in 50 impact partners. And these impact partners decide, you know what, I'll give $10 a month to Measure. I'll give $25 a month, I'll give $100 a month to Measure, whatever that looks like, so that we're able to be sustainable in these conversations that we're having, in these college courses that we're bringing forth. We're also creating new technology and just all of the work. And, you know, with Measure, our main goal is to provide free data and evaluation services to powerful Black, Brown, and Indigenous led organizations. So that's what we do. We've been able to provide over 3,568 hours of free data support to our community. We're only able to do that because people like you decide to become an impact partner. We can only plan because we have our community that has our back. And then lastly is just to really share this workshop. We are going to have this workshop again. We're going to have it again, you know, pretty much quarterly. And so we want to continue to bring more people to this room. The conversation will always be a little bit different. The breakout rooms will always be a little bit different, but we're just hoping that the people will also be, will just keep bringing one another so that we can continue to make change within our own communities. All right, and I see a hand. Candace?
Let me get my camera open again. Yeah, I had a question because I talked about in our small group how I came to this from the perspective of someone who certifies educators in the state of Texas and someone that trains teachers as a freelance mentor and coach. I think that this is a great offering. It's an important offering for teachers to get as many as they can, but I don't know, like, if you guys would offer CPE credit, you know what I'm saying? The continuing education credit. Like, so if they have to take these things on their own, but if they could say, hey, instead of doing that one, I'm going to do this one. I would rather like point a teacher toward this training, knowing that they're going to get their sign off and be able to get their credit hours or what have you. And I don't know how you like establish that or whatever, but that's just something to maybe reach out to the school districts and say, hey, we have this course. Can you put it in your offerings? And your teachers can then get, you know, we'll sign off that they attended, blah, 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 whatever.
Thank you, Candace. And where are you from, Candace?
I'm here in Austin. I'm actually running for school board in Austin ISD, but I'm an Austin ISD parent also.
Yes, love to hear it, love to see it. Okay, yeah, thank you for that. I know that Angel has taken note on that. It's definitely something that we will discuss within our organization. Hopefully we can.
Yeah, I also wanted to add, if you all are not already familiar with Educators in Solidarity, they are a huge partner of ours. And those are Educators in Solidarity in the greater Austin metropolitan area. So we do offer trainings. We have done the 6 Ways to Protect Black Girls workshop that you saw today with them. However, there is no certification just yet. So thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. I'll also include my email in the chat. So if you have any questions, if you can provide any guidance of who we need to talk to make that happen, we would love to. Not just educators, but as we've talked about again, attorneys, judges, just anyone. This information is so valuable to anyone that comes into contact with Black girls. So thank you for bringing that up.
And just to remind everyone here, this work doesn't stop here. Again, if you're interested in becoming a data activist and joining Angel's team to continue the fight, please do that. We are, for the next 3 years, and I'm going to kind of pass this over to Precious next, but for the next 3 years, we are hyper focusing in on disrupting what's called the Jezebel Stereotype, right? So when you talk about adultification bias, you need to understand that it comes from the enslavement of Black bodies, right? During the enslavement of Black bodies, Black women were looked at as, you know, hypersexual, and that's the Jezebel stereotype. Black women may have looked like or looked at as the mammy, and that's kind of like the motherly stereotype. Black women were also looked at as like the sapphire, right? Like the Angela Davis, the angry Black woman, and so forth. And so it's our focus for the next 3 years to disrupt the Jezebel stereotype. And that's the stereotype that says Black girls are hypersexual, they need less protection, etc. So in order for if you are all interested, please, please, please choose to volunteer with the organization. Please choose to become an impact partner so that we're able to do that work. We plan to train lots of actually truckers in the next couple of years. Truckers, transportation professionals to recognize traffic victims. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic over to Precious.
Awesome. I did see one other hand go up. Markia, did you still want to speak or share something?
Oh, I was just going to chime in about connecting with Angel about the training for Harris County. I don't work on the criminal side, but on the civil side at the county attorney's office and in our CPS division. I think that would be a training that would be extremely useful for the attorneys to just definitely need to have that training. So I'll connect with Angel because I had some questions, but I just wanted to say that I look forward to working with you all and continuing the partnership.
Awesome. Thank you so much for participating and speaking up. Collaboration, the power of collaboration. Passion, you can go to the next slide. So as I mentioned, we're going to share this 16-minute film, and we can share feedback in the chat as needed, but I'm definitely going to reserve space here for any of you that just want to share. So I think this is where I share my screen now. So let me share my screen.
And Precious, let me just say too, we invite everyone to stay to watch this film. We understand that at 7 o'clock, we told everyone that at 7 o'clock it's over. However, we invite you all to share space with us and watch this film. It's incredible by an incredible creator. So just want to let you know. And then maybe what we can also do is in the follow-up, we will also share this.
Well, local videographers, movie producers have come together to spread awareness of human trafficking through a short film called Truffle Sauce.
ABC 13's digital producer Desiree Cantu spoke with the director and the writer of this coming-of-age drama.
Truffle Sauce is a coming-of-age short film that sheds light on human trafficking through an unhealed lens of a college student. Director Isaac Yeoman and writer Shannon E. Johnson spoke with Eyewitness News about the importance of spreading awareness.
A lot of people understand that human trafficking exists, right? But it's usually not a conversation that people are having around their tables. So I don't think people in Houston really understand that we're at the top of the list for it. So it's opening that conversation for people to realize that it's happening in their own backyards.
Johnson says human trafficking does not discriminate.
It's not just one community in the city, it's all over.
According to the nonprofit Upbring, in Texas, human trafficking is believed to be the highest within the Texas Triangle. That connects the Houston, San Antonio, and Dallas-Fort Worth metro areas and the lower Rio Grande Valley.
I had a few people come up to me and say that that was literally their story that they just saw on screen. And it's that kind of stuff that lets us know that we've done our job.
Yeoman said he wanted to uplift this story and tell it through a lens where people can see themselves within the characters.